Okay, so first of all, we'll study the structure how epidermis is connected to the dermis, i.e. via the hemidesmosomes, anchoring filaments, and anchoring fibrils. This is the structure present in the dermoepidermal junction. Hemidesmosome is the part of which the basal keratinocytes of the stratum basale connect to the dermis. And this structure, these things here are called anchoring filaments and anchoring fibrils. Okay, so this is the zoomed in version. Now, in the basal cells of basal keratinocytes of the stratum basale, we have uh, keratin 5 and 14. This is keratin 5 and 14. This is connected to plectin and BP antigen 1, which is BP antigen 230. Now this BP antigen 1 and plectin is connected to alpha 6 beta 4, and BP antigen 2 is connected to BP antigen 1 is connected to BP antigen 2, which is BP antigen 180, to the lamina lucida. These two are the part of the anchoring filaments. So this is basically how the hemidesmosomes, these are the hemidesmosomes, how they connect the keratin filaments to the anchoring filament, and anchoring filament connected hemidesmosome to fibrils anchoring fibrils, and how basically anchoring fibrils connect these anchoring filaments to the dermis, right? So this is hemidesmosome containing keratin 514. Then we have these. This is BP antigen 1, which is connected to BP antigen 2. Then we have plectin, which is connected to alpha 6 beta 4. And then we have lamina lucida and lamina densa. Lamina lucida is made up of laminin 5332, and lamina densa is made up of collagen 4 and nadogen. This whole blue one is called anchoring filaments. And then we have U-shaped anchoring fibrils, which are type 7 collagen, and they connect it to dermis. So basically, in the epidermis basal layers, if we go by progression of collagen, it is collagen 4, then it is collagen 7, then in dermis, in the papillary dermis, it is collagen 3, and in the reticular dermis, it is collagen 1. Collagen 3 or the papillary dermis is the loose connective tissue layer, and the reticular dermis, which forms the major part of the dermis, is the dense irregular connective tissue. So 7, 4, 3, 1. This is the arrangement of collagen from lamina densa, then to anchoring filaments, then to papillary dermis, then reticular dermis. So there are also disorders in the keratin 514 of the basal cells of stratum basale. It is known as EB simplex. In the plectin, it is EB simplex with muscular dystrophy. In alpha 6 beta 4, it is junctional EB with pyloric atresia. In BP antigen 180, it is generalized intermediate junctional epidermolysis bullosa. And in the anchoring filaments, it is epidermolysis bullosa equisita, it is acquired, or it can be dominant or recessive dystrophic epidermolysis dystrophica. EB dystrophica and EB equisita, it is in the anchoring fibrils, defect in the anchoring fibrils. So now in the whole layer of epidermis and dermis, how are the disease organized? So either they can be at the dermoepidermal junction or they can be epidermal. So it will be suprabasal split and it will be basal split. So if there is suprabasal split, there can be desmoglein 1, defect in the desmoglein 1, and desmoglein 1 defect is known as pemphigus foliaceus or pemphigus erythema. Desmoglein 1 as in the stratum granulosum. First we will write here stratum granulosum, spinosum, basale. This is hemidesmosome, this is anchoring filament, this is anchoring fibrils. So basically this all is dermoepidermal junction, and this is epidermis, and this is dermis. So either the defect can be in the epidermis or it can be at the dermoepidermal junction. So first we will see the defects in the epidermis. Epidermis की भी कौन सी stratum granulosum, उसमें desmoglein 1 में defect हो, that is pemphigus foliaceus and pemphigus erythematosus. Pemphigus foliaceus and pemphigus erythematosus, E and F, are in desmoglein 1. And other disorders in stratum granulosum are staphylococcal skin scalded syndrome. It is due to exfoliative toxin A and B. Then we have bullous impetigo, which is exfoliative toxin A. Then also we can have malaria crystallina. It is obstruction. And then we have friction blister. Then we have subcorneal pustular dermatosis. Then we have in the stratum spinosum we have Haley disease, ATP2C1 against it. It is the defect in ATP2C1, calcium pump blocker, Golgi, and we have eczematous dermatitis, HSV, HZV, and molluscum. So basically, in the stratum spinosum, we have Haley, ATP2C1, calcium pump blocker, Golgi, and we have eczematous dermatitis, HSV, HZV, and molluscum. Then defect in the suprabasal or desmoglein 3 is pemphigus vulgaris and pemphigus vegetans. F and E were in the desmoglein 1, vulgaris and vegetans VV in the 3. Okay, V3 in the desmoglein 3. Then we have in Darier's disease we have ATP2A2. Darier is ATP2A2, Haley is ATP2C1. Darier is calcium ATPase defect in Sarca. And then as we have already seen, keratin, hemidesmosome का keratin, or it is or also eczema multiforme, it is also in the basal layer. And then we have keratin defect in keratin 514 is EB simplex. And as we have already seen, plectin defects and alpha 6 beta 4 defects. Plectin defect is EB simplex with the myotonic dystrophica, muscular dystrophy, and it is EB with junctional EB with pyloric stenosis. Yes, junctional EB with pyloric stenosis. And we have seen that BP antigen 180 and 230 का जो डिफेक्ट है दैट इज़ BP antigen 1 and 2 के अगेंस्ट बुलस पेम्पिगॉइड, BP antigen 2 विच इज़ 180 के अगेंस्ट तो लीनियर IG, इसमें IG1 के एंटीबॉडीज़ होती हैं. देन जंक्शनल EB इज़ अगेंस्ट लैमिनिन 332 एज वी हैव सीन. जंक्शनल EB इज़ अगेंस्ट लैमिनिन 332 and also alpha 6 beta 4 is also junctional EB. Then we have toxic epidermis necrolysis, it is also in this layer which is anchoring filaments. Then we have anchoring fibrils. We have EB equisita or EB dystrophica as we have seen collagen 7 का कौन सा है, EB equisita and EB dystrophica, right? And then we have deep burns, porphyria cutaneous tata. So in the dermoepidermal junction we have bullous pemphigoid, linear IgA, junctional EB, TEN, EB dystrophica, EB equisita, deep burns, and porphyria cutaneous tata. Then we have nail changes in lichen planus. Nail involvement in lichen planus occur in up to 10% of cases but is usually a minor feature of the disease. Nail changes in lichen planus occur in 10% of the cases, is a minor feature. Okay. Dorsal nail pterygium is most specific. In lichen planus, the fusion of the dorsal nail fold and a nail bed lead to pterygium. The most frequent nail change is exaggeration of longitudinal lines and linear depressions due to thinning of the nail plate. Then we have pup tenting, which is elevation of nail in the shape of tent. Then we have trichonychia, 20 nail dystrophy. Then we have subungual hyperkeratosis and onycholysis. Then we have longitudinal melanonychia in lichen planus of the nail bed. Then we have permanent destruction of several toe nails with ulceration of the soles. This is a rare variant. This is trichonychia. This is presented with irregular longitudinal grooves and ridges. This is the most frequent one, whereas the most specific one is pterygium only. See, this is the dorsal nail pterygium, where the dorsal nail plate is connected to the dorsal nail bed. Dorsal nail plate is connected to the dorsal nail bed. Then we have this is dorsal nail pterygium. Then we have also pup tenting. Then nail changes in psoriasis में 40% लोगों में associated होता है. Nail psoriasis is associated with more extensive psoriasis, longer disease duration, family history of psoriasis, and presence of psoriatic arthritis. So psoriatic arthritis, extensive psoriasis, disease की duration ज़्यादा हो या family history उसमें ज़्यादा होता है. Subungual oil drop sign और salmon patch psoriasis में होता है, is highly specific. Pathognomic sign subungual oil droplet or salmon patch is highly specific pathognomic sign in nail psoriasis. and it is a yellow red discoloration in the nail bed resembling the drop of oil. Then we have nail pitting is the most frequent sign. In psoriasis, oil droplet is highly specific and nail pitting is most frequent. In lichen planus, dorsal nail pterygium is most specific and thinning and longitudinal lines is most frequent. मोस्ट स्पेसिफिक एंड मोस्ट फ्रीक्वेंट आपसे पूछ सकते हैं. अगर मोस्ट स्पेसिफिक पूछा लाइकन प्लेनस में, अगर आपसे मोस्ट स्पेसिफिक पूछा लाइकन प्लेनस में, दैट इज डॉर्सल नेल टेरिजियम. अगर मोस्ट फ्रीक्वेंट पूछा, दैट इज लॉन्गिट्यूडनल lines and longitudinal lines due to thinning of nail plate. Then we have nail changes in psoriasis. Nail changes in psoriasis are present in 40% of cases at any point in time. इसमें मोस्ट स्पेसिफिक कौन सा है? मोस्ट स्पेसिफिक इज ऑयल ड्रॉप और सैल्मन पैच, एंड मोस्ट फ्रीक्वेंट is nail pitting which is deep and irregular. Nail pitting which is deep and irregular. See, it is very deep and irregular and deep. These nail pits are also known as thimble pits and are due to involvement of the proximal nail matrix. Nail bed is also called subungual hyperkeratosis, splinter hemorrhages, and distal onycholysis. Leukonychia may also be present. Trichonychia और 20 nail may be also present in severe cases. Basically बाकी changes जो हैं वो इतने ज़्यादा पैथोगनोमिक नहीं है. सी ल्यूकोनिकिया भी इसको डिफ्रेंशिएट करता है लाइकन प्लेनस से. हाउ वी कैन रिमेंबर द nail changes of psoriasis? It is pitting, P for pitting, which is deep and irregular. Then we have which is deep and irregular, oil drop sign or onycholysis, leukonychia, irregular pitting, splinter hemorrhages, hyperkeratosis, subungual hyperkeratosis. See, this is the salmon patch, this is oil drop. Then we have types of psoriatic arthritis. Type of psoriatic arthritis, as we know, first line treatment of psoriatic arthritis is methotrexate or apremilast. ठीक है. Type of psoriatic arthritis, the mnemonic is soda. S for symmetric polyarthritis, spondylitis, symmetrical polyarthritis, spondylitis and sacroiliitis type. Then we have oligoarticular asymmetrical. If it is poly, then it is symmetrical. If it is oligo, then it is asymmetrical. Okay, types of psoriatic arthritis: soda, S for symmetrical polyarthritis or spondylitis and sacroiliitis, O for oligoarticular asymmetrical, D for DIP, distal interphalangeal joint classical type, A for arthritis mutilans type. So we have symmetrical polyarthritis type, spondylitis, sacroiliitis type, oligoarticular asymmetrical, DIP, distal interphalangeal or classical type, and classically basically psoriasis involves DIP, distal interphalangeal joint or classical type. Then we have arthritis mutilans.